What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Kari, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. It's been a year of a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of controversy, a lot of amazing things. But through it all, we're still here. We made it through this crazy year. And if you're like me, you are really looking forward to 2021 and everything that 2021 has in store. However, in typical sneaker YouTuber form, I have to give you guys my top 10 sneakers of 2020, because while it was a wild year just for the world at large, it also was quite a year for sneakers. And I want to give a little bit of a forewarning before we jump into my personal top 10 list of 2020's sneakers. You guys may not agree with this list. This list is probably not going to look like a lot of other people's lists, but it's my personal list. These are the sneakers that to me made the most impact and meant the most to me this year. Now, again, I have a top 10 list. We'll run through those, but then I definitely have honorable mentions that just missed the cut for one reason or another. So without further ado, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get straight into it. Starting off with number 10 for the best sneakers of 2020, I put in the J Balvin Air Jordan 1. And the reason why I made the J Balvin Air Jordan 1 my number 10 best sneaker of the year is simply because of how monumental that sneaker was for the Colombian community and for J Balvin as an artist. J Balvin talked a lot about kind of manifesting this sneaker to happen. And honestly, it looks like he pretty much made it happen. He said a long time ago, a few years ago, that he wanted to do this Air Jordan 1 with Jordan Brand way before it ever happened, and now it actually happened. I think it's a monumental moment for him, for his community, for his supporters, for his fan base, for a lot of people, for international sneakers as a whole. It was a major, major milestone. And so that is why, to me, it deserved, even though at number 10, a spot on my top 10 list. Now, the reason why I put that shoe so low on my list was because personally, I think that the shoe was a little bit busy for me. There was a lot of colors. There was a lot going on. We did a video about the J Balvin 1. You can take a look at that as well. But for my personal taste, it was very, very busy. But for what the sneaker represented and for the story that it told and for how big it was, I definitely think that it still deserved a spot on the list. Moving on to number 9, best sneakers of 2020, the Bubba Chuck Reebok Question Mid. What an incredible sneaker the Bubba Chuck was. I mean, storytelling completely on par. Frank Cook and the design team over there at Reebok did a tremendous job with this sneaker, with the friends and family and seating packaging. Now, unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get that packaging. I mentioned that in the video, but the packaging was absolutely incredible. And again, it told a really, really great story about Allen Iverson's past and his childhood and how he grew up. So because of that, because of how special that shoe was and the connection to Allen Iverson, how it told that really amazing story, in addition to that, the design details, the glow-in-the-dark midsole, things of that nature, the rip stop that was on the shoe as well, they just did such a great job from materials to story to execution of that shoe. So number 9, Bubba Chuck Reebok Question Mid. Coming in at number 8, Chicago Stand Up for Your Own Son, Joe Freshgoods. The Joe Freshgoods New Balance 992 No Emotions Are Emotions. What an amazing sneaker that is. The thing that really sucked about the 992 that Joe Freshgoods did was how limited it was. I don't like the prices that are on the shoe right now, but I also do appreciate the fact that there's so much demand on the sneaker still that people are still willing to pay top dollar just to get their hands on that shoe. I think that really speaks to Joe Freshgoods, to what he's been doing ever since he was, I don't know, in his early years, his early days of just designing, trying to get his thing off the ground, bootlegging different brands, and going from bootlegging certain brands to actually doing real collaborations with certain brands and literally writing, not a bootleg this time, on his shoebox. Now, this sneaker, of course, is not the 992. This is just the Converse that came out from his latest collection, which appreciate my good people over there at Foot Action for sending me over this shoe. It's a very, very dope shoe. But at the same time, like I said, Joe Freshgoods is just kind of that Cinderella story in sneakers right now and in fashion and in design. And he's really, really putting on for his city right now. So again, number 8, Joe Freshgoods, No Emotions Are Emotions, 992 New Balance. What a year for New Balance too. All right, coming in at number 7, we have the Space Hippie 03. Now, the Space Hippie 03 came out as a part of the big collection for Space Hippie. It really, really launched the trash campaign that Nike really, really hyped up for a long time. And it was a huge catalyst in really shining a big light on sustainability in sneakers. It, to me, influenced a lot of other sneakers, doing a lot of vegan-friendly sneakers, doing a lot more with sustainability, with carbon neutrality. We talked about that. We did a video about the Space Hippie. We did a video about vegan sneakers this year. year. It was one of my personal favorites. Hopefully you guys take a look at that. Go back, check that one out. But I think a lot of brands did a great job, not just Nike, of really being more environmentally conscious this year. Going green is something that we're going to have to continue doing in 2021 and beyond if we really want to get to where we need to get to keep this planet together. The 03 in particular was a really weird and left and funky design that a lot of people resonated with. The resale prices jumped up once the sneaker released. It was really pretty crazy. I didn't expect for the resale to go up like that, but a brand new silhouette, a brand new sneaker, a brand new concept, and it looks like they got a lot more to do with that concept in the future. So I'm excited to see what happens. Space Hippie 03 coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, I've got the What If pack by Undefeated and Nike for the Kobe 5. Now, I struggled with where to put this shoe on the list because there were other shoes, obviously, that I feel like deserved higher places on the list. So it was tough to find a spot to put that in, but I think it's nestled in very nicely around that number 6 spot. That pack told an amazing story, if you guys remember, of all of the different teams' colors that actually passed on Kobe back in the day when he first got drafted. And imagine being the owners of any of those teams these days that actually passed on a young Kobe Bryant, not really seeing the potential that he possessed, even though he knew that he was going to do something really special in the NBA, and he did it. I think that that sneaker had a really deep meaning, and it really resonated with a lot of people these days that may be entrepreneurs, that may be trying to get something off the ground. And if you're one of those people, you may have encountered a lot of people who are willing to pass you up as well. That doesn't mean that you're not good. That doesn't mean that you're not great, as a matter of fact. It just means that those particular people that may be passing up on you may not see the vision. And that's fine. You go elsewhere and you prove all those people wrong, just like Kobe did. And that's the story that was told in that pack. So that pack was so incredible, it had to make it on the list. Coming in at number 6, the What If pack, Undefeated, Nike, Kobe 5. All right, coming in at number 5, top 10 sneakers of the year. My personal favorite and one of my personal grails, the Air Jordan 13 Flint. Now, if you guys remember, this sneaker shock dropped during the airing of the Last Dance documentary. It went crazy, an incredible sneaker that they brought back after so many years, a lot of history in this shoe. And if you guys watched the Flint video that I put out, one of my personal grails from the story that really resonated deeply with me was very personal to me. The story of me wanting a pair of Jordans and fishing an old pair of Flints out of the garbage can that this guy at my school used to have that were 2 sizes too big for me. So to get my hands on this sneaker again just meant the world to me. So the Flint may not make it on everybody's top 10 list, but again, my personal top 10 list are sneakers that really mean something to me, as well as sneakers that made an impact this year. And this sneaker did both for me. They mean a lot to me, and they made a huge impact on my life. So my personal number 5, the Air Jordan 13 Flint. Coming in at number 4, I wish I had a pair, but they are way too expensive on the market for me to get my hands on right now. It's the Off-White Air Jordan 4. Now, here's the deal. This sneaker, it just did something so special, and it exploded the conversation when it comes to women in sneakers. And I want to get on that for just a minute if I can. Women in sneakers has been a huge and very hot topic of 2020. It really is a shame that I didn't see women's sneakers or something that highlighted women in sneakers or women in streetwear on more people's top 10 lists this year. It really is sad, because one thing that has really been a needle mover this year are all the things that women have done in sneakers this year. We've seen some incredible products from some incredible women, both behind the scenes and in front of the design pen. And even though this was a Virgil Abloh sneaker, the rollout of this sneaker that favored women, to me, was one of my favorite rollouts of any sneaker this year. Remember the exclusive access that pretty much went to about 98% women only on the sneakers app. I mean, this sneaker was so huge, it had men changing their gender to woman in the sneakers app just so that they could try to get their hands on it. I've never seen men go so crazy over a woman's sneaker. It was beautifully done. It was that beautiful sail color with that hint of kind of that greenish blue on the outsole of the sneaker. Really nice materials on the shoe. The thing I liked the most about it was that it truly was a sneaker that you could dress up or you could dress down. I saw people wear it with some really classy and elegant, dressy, more formal outfits, and I saw some people throw it on with a pair of jeans or a pair of joggers, and the shoes looked amazing in both scenarios. It really is a very versatile shoe, and like I mentioned, it really lends itself to the conversation about what women deserve in sneakers. So my challenge to anybody that's watching this, especially my guys, my fellas, I need you guys to make sure that you're putting women on more of a pedestal when it comes to sneakers in 2021. They deserve that, and they're working very hard to make their voices heard. It's up to us to make sure that we kind of step to the side a little bit and make sure that they get the shine and the limelight that they deserve. So again, coming in at number 4, the Air Jordan 4 by Off-White and Nike. Coming in at number 3, this one is probably going to be a little bit controversial, and let me just explain. Obviously, you can't talk 2020 in sneakers without talking about how incredible the Nike SB Dunk and the Nike Dunk in general did this year. Nike came out with some amazing dunks. There are some dunks that definitely made it on my honorable mention list, but there was one dunk in particular that really stood out to me this year as one that made an incredible impact and connected different generations of enthusiasts and fans, and that was the Grateful Dead Dunk SB. You can pick any color you want. Now, my personal favorite probably of the 3 was the yellow. I like the yellow color. As the prices start to come down a little bit, I'm probably still going to try to get my hands on a pair of those in 2021. But the reason why I put that sneaker so high on this list is not because of all the hype and because of how much money the sneaker was worth. Obviously, it's worth a lot of money. But the reason I put it on the list was because it really got people looking at something that they never looked at before, which was the Grateful Dead. A lot of people you don't really hear talking about the Grateful Dead. They're a band that really kind of our parents and in some of our instances our grandparents listened to back in like the 70s. And so a lot of people weren't too hip on the Grateful Dead. So what that sneaker made people do was to go do some research about history. And you know me, being a history junkie, being a history buff, loving the details and the stories behind the sneakers, when I saw people really digging into the history of a band that was so legendary like the Grateful Dead, to me, that impact made it a really, really powerful and influential sneaker for 2020. As a side note, salute to all the skate shops that actually made people dig into the crates a little bit and actually answer trivia questions about the Grateful Dead to prove how much of a fan they were, because it really made people appreciate the band that much more. It's an incredible legacy that that band has left in music. They have countless awards and accolades, and the fact that Nike decided to bring them into the Nike SB fold, the Dunk fold, make a shoe that was dedicated to them and everything that they did. And then we saw other companies spawn off with their own products, the Grateful Dead Crocs, for instance. It just really revitalized something that I thought was really dope, because everybody took a step back and had an appreciation for some history for a chance. And to me, that was really dope. Yes, I understand the Travis SB Dunk. It was worth a ton of money, and that's why it's on a lot of people's list. But to me, money isn't what it's all about. Now, I do think that it's dope that Travis Scott got his own SB, but at the end of the day, to me, that was a bit of an easy play. So everybody kind of knew that that shoe was going to be worth a lot of money. It was an easy sell. It's Travis Scott at the end of the day. I feel like the Grateful Dead might have been a little bit of a harder sell, but it still did very well. So that's why that one got a spot on my list and the Travis SB didn't. All right, let's get into number 2. My personal number 2 best sneaker of 2020, the Fire Red Air Jordan 4. Now, you can't deny that this sneaker is one of the best sneakers that has dropped of this year. The legacy of this sneaker to me is why it ranked number 2 on my list. Yeah, I understand that there were some people that didn't like the quality. Yeah, I understand that there were some people that complained about the toe box on the shoe. But again, this sneaker represented something that had never been done in its original form since the late 80s. And we finally got that in 2020. I mean, how special is that? The legacy of Michael Jordan is alive and well these days. And to me, it's always amazing when I see people rocking these designs that were created back in the 80s, still in 2020 and rocking them like they are the freshest thing out, because in a lot of ways, they're still the freshest thing out. And the Air Jordan 4 with that classic Nike Air on the back, you can't beat it. And that brings me to my number 1 sneaker of 2020, the Ben & Jerry's Chunky Dunky Nike Dunk SB. I know it's cliche. I know it's cliche. I know it made it on everybody's list. I know a lot of people talked about the Chunky Dunky, but here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people talk about the Chunky Dunky being at the top of their list this year or being number 2 on their list this year. But the reason for that all lean towards the hype around the shoe. That's not why the Chunky Dunky is my number 1 sneaker. I get that the sneaker is worth a lot of money. I get that the sneaker was extremely limited and it was hard to get your hands on, and it was really, really dope. It's a great looking sneaker, great materials, great storytelling in the shoe, kind of looking like the outside of an ice cream box. I love all that. But again, That's not why it's my number one. The real reason why I made the Chunky Dunky by Ben & Jerry's my number one sneaker of 2020 is, I don't know if you guys really remember back to around the time that the sneaker dropped. It feels like we've lived probably 5 years in this 1 year so far. But if you guys remember, this country was in a severe state of racial unrest. There were some terrible and tragic things that were going on that was causing a lot of uproar and a lot of upsetment all throughout this country. And for a little while, a lot of companies started getting on the bandwagon. They did Blackout Tuesday. All the companies came out and said the classic Black Lives Matter. And they did what they had to do from a corporate perspective to maintain their image, basically to keep on selling products. So unfortunately, a lot of what those companies didn't feel genuine to me. But the way that Ben & Jerry's handled that in a position of their power and their platform, they did an incredible job of being a very loud and very unapologetic voice of advocacy for race relations and Black Lives Matter movements across the country. They came out with statistics that showed disproportionate rates of people of color and how they were treated in the country as opposed to non-people of color. They went on and on day after day after day, giving you facts, figures, and being very unapologetic across social media, email messages, and things of that nature when it came to how they felt about what was going on in the country. They could have done the safe thing that a lot of other companies did, which was say Black Lives Matter and kind of go away and hope that everything went back to normal. But Ben & Jerry's didn't do that. They stepped up to the plate, and in their position, they didn't have to, but they were an incredible voice. They were incredible allies for people that look like me at a really sensitive and important time in our history. And I appreciate Ben & Jerry's for that. I'm gonna buy this shoe. I know it's gonna cost me probably $1,500 or something like that, but I'm going to buy this shoe and I'm gonna show it to you guys whenever I get the sneaker in, because it means that much to me. It's worth spending the money to get that little piece of the company into my hands. So my number one sneaker for that reason, as opposed to the sneaker just being dope, is the Ben & Jerry's Chunky Dunky Nike SB Dunk. And there you have it. That's my personal top 10 list of the sneakers that dropped in 2020. Unfortunately, I don't have most of them because a lot of these sneakers you guys gobbled up with your bots and all your good knickknacks and paddywhacks and things of that nature, and I wasn't able to get my hands on them. So I'm gonna have to give Goat and StockX a lot of my money next year just to get my hands on these sneakers that I really love this year. It's been an incredible year for sneakers. It's been an incredible year for the channel. You guys have been rocking with me all through 2020, and we have 9,400 plus more new family members that have joined the channel this year alone. I thank you guys so much for rocking with me as much as you have throughout 2020. I know it's been a crazy year. Hopefully I have given you guys a little bit of relief, showed you guys some fire, showed you guys some sneakers that may have made you take a second look or may have made you look a little bit more into the history. We got a lot more planned in 2021. I have a lot more heat planned for you in 2021. Let's continue to grow together. You guys stay safe out there. Have a safe holiday. Whatever you're doing, just make sure that you're not doing it irresponsibly. That's pretty much all that I got for you guys today. Make sure that you sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about my top 10 list. Let me know what you would move around, what you would change around, or what your personal favorite sneaker of 2020 was. I would love to hear what you guys think was the top sneaker of 2020. Of course, write down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat, like all the heat that I've shown you guys this year and talked about today, because I guarantee you, I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, dialoguing with me, looking at a couple of sneakers and talking to me about the top 10 sneakers of 2020. I go by the name of Kari, and until next time, I'm out.